So the question was asked of me. Well, here, I'll just read the question. I've never used Fusion, but I'd like to use it for an acoustic guitar. I have some calculations I do that require the area of the top and the volume of air inside. Can Fusion provide those numbers from the model? So it's not a simple answer. As far as the area of the top, that's pretty simple, and let's just do that real quick. I brought up the bottom because the top has the sound hole and the slot cut for the tenon, so the bottom and the top are basically the same surface area, so we'll just do a surface area on this. So what I'm going to do is just select the body, the bottom. I'm going to go to Inspect, Measure, select the body again. That's going to give me my area, 242.144 square inches, or square centimeters, square millimeters, whatever units that you're using in your model. So that's straightforward and easy. Getting the volume of the inside of the body is a different matter. Technically, we should be able to do that quite simply in Fusion with the boundary fill command. Cancel that, I didn't mean to go into it. However, I can't get it to work, and I've never used it for anything else, so I don't know if it's something I'm doing, but I think it has more to do with just the complexity of the shape and all of the components inside. We should be able to just get the volume of the inside of this with that boundary fill. What it should do is create a solid body inside of here that fits around all of the components that are installed, and then we should be able to go to our properties and get the volume off of the properties of that new solid body. But it doesn't seem to work. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong, but I have a different way of doing it, so I will show you how to get the volume of the air inside the body the way I do it. So I'm going to use my model for the sides to do this. The model for the sides includes the derived top and bottom, which we'll use to create a completely enclosed. So what my approach is going to be is to create a surface model of the inside of the guitar by creating a surface on the inside of the sides, creating a surface on the top, and a surface that represents the bottom. And then when we stitch that together, it'll create a solid body that is a model of the empty body. That doesn't account for all of the components that go inside, but I'm going to deal with that as well. But first we're going to get the area of the empty body. So this is how we're going to do that. I'm going to back up the timeline. I want to get a solid side here, so I want to get rid of the tenon cutout, and I want to get rid of the inlay here. So I'm going to back up the timeline, and that gets rid of the cutout, and then I'm going to back it up a little more to get rid of my inlay. Okay. Now I have just my sides. So then what I want to do is I'm going to create an offset on this. Wait, first I'm going to bring in my binding. So these sides are not tall enough. The sides don't include the portion of the binding that would still fit inside, that still is exposed inside the body. So I need to add the binding back in, or half the binding. And since I want half of the binding, what I'll do is I'll add just one of the bindings, the one on the bottom, because it doesn't have anything I have to worry about on it. The top one has that cut out for the tenon. So let's go get the bottom binding. Let's turn on our Dreadnought bottom. Let's go to bodies. Let's turn off the bottom so all we have is the binding here. Okay, now that I have that, I'm going to create an offset. I'm going to go to my surface tools and create a surface offset on this inside, including the binding. Okay, and we're going to create a new body. Okay, now we're going to turn off our bottom, and we're going to turn off our solid side, Now that did create two separate entities here, but we're going to stitch everything together later, so that will be fine. So now what we want to do is bring in our bottoms and our tops. So let's start on the bottom. We're already in there. Let's go turn on. Let's turn off the solid binding, and let's turn on the bottom. Excuse me. Now that bottom is not where we want it to be. It's in the middle of that binding, so we need to lower it down to the bottom. So I'm going to do that by creating an offset off of that surface. So we're going to create another surface offset off the bottom. We're going to bring it down. We know that this binding is twice of our thickness, so we're going to bring it down half, just 1 times our thickness to get it to the bottom. So we're going to say, we're going to use our thickness parameter. Okay. Now we're going to turn off the derived bottom, and all we have left is now our side and our bottom. Okay. Now we need to do the top, so we're going to go to our top, turn on the dreadnought top. We're going to turn off all of the solid bodies, and we are just going to turn on the top, but we need to extend it out. So we need the top, we need the binding, and we need the purfling. Okay, and all of those are above the body because they're sitting above the binding. So we need to lower the width of the binding to get it back down on the top. And again, binding is twice thickness. So we're going to do an offset. We're going to do a surface offset. We're going to select all 3 of those entities, the binding. Don't know what I got there. Let's start over. Let's get the top, the purfling, and the binding. And then we're going to offset those down to the top, which will be minus thickness parameter times 2. And that sets it down on top. Okay, so now we can turn off our derived top, and this is what we have. So now we have an enclosed hollow body. Now what we want is a solid body that represents this hollow body. Now remember, the inside of this represents the inside dimensions of the guitar. Okay, so now if we take these and stitch them, now it looks like we don't have a good seal on the top, but we know it's very minor. Whatever it is, I'm not sure why it's not sealed on the top, but all I'm going to do here is I'm going to increase my tolerance. I'm just going to jump it all the way up to 1 inch because I just want it to fill in any gap there. Whatever that gap is it's inconsequential to our volume. At least I'm pretty sure it's inconsequential. I guess that depends on the user on how much tolerance they're willing to take. Sorry, my voice is a little rough today. Okay, so I did that stitch, and now I have a solid body, and we can tell this is a solid body if we go to inspect, do a section analysis, choose a plane, and we can see we're solid all the way through. So now that we have that solid body, we can come over to our body and right click on it and go to properties, and in the properties we'll get our volume, 1082.201 cubic inches. So now that we have that, all we need to do is go and calculate the volume of all of the internal components and subtract that from that volume we just got. So what I did was I just brought in all those things, starting with the top bracing. I selected all the pieces, and then I go properties, and I got the volume, and then I created a little spreadsheet. So bring that over here, and I put all these in here. So I put in my empty body here, and then I took all the volume air displacing components and put them under here. So my top bracing is 11.359. And I did that for all the others. Heel block, kerf lining top, kerf lining bottom, tail block, side bracing. Just select them all and then get the properties, and it'll give you all of the bottom bracing. And yeah, I got the neck in, and I backed up my timeline to where I extruded the tenon so that I could get the volume of that tenon before I did a combine to combine it into the neck. So I have all of those in my spreadsheet now. So I do a sum of all of my air displacing components here, and then I subtract that from my empty body, and that gives me a total air capacity of 1,024.788 cubic inches. So to answer the question, can I get it from the model? Not directly. You can go about it this way to get it, and I believe this would be a very accurate air volume inside the body with all the components installed. So hope that was helpful. Take care.